In the realm of the lands between, where stories of grace and ruin intertwine, the echo of the Elden Ring calls out to us once more. Today, we embark on a journey beyond the Erd Tree, into the heart of anticipation, lore, and uncharted realms awaiting in the expansive DLC. Join us as we unravel the mysteries woven by Hidetaka Miyazaki and George R.R. Martin and ask, is the Elden Ring hype truly warranted? But before we get into that, guys, just like I said, I'm planning to go live when the DLC drops on June 21st, 2024, and I want to stream this DLC gameplay with you guys. So if that's something you're interested, definitely like, subscribe, and comment below. And if this content is what you guys like, definitely like, subscribe, and share with a friend before we continue. Thank you, because it greatly helps the channel. The Lands Between, a tapestry of myths, legends, and battles, serves as the backdrop for our tale. Miyazaki, in a rare glimpse into his creative process, once stated, "Our goal is to create a world full of life and death, intertwined with a deep lore that players can immerse themselves in and feel." This philosophy breathes life into every corner of the Lands Between, promising that the DLC will not only expand the map but deepen the lore, challenging players to piece together the Elden Ring's shattered history. And as we know, guys, Elden Ring and Miyazaki, he's known not to disappoint. As we know, this is a paid expansion, meaning yes, you will have to pay money in order to play the DLC, but none of us are complaining because we know that with this expansion, things are going to be really good. So you have a standard edition, which is $40, a premium bundle edition, which is $50, and a physical collector's edition, which is $250. And what we expect are speculated new areas, mechanics, equipment, weapons, NPCs, and more. When you think about new mechanics in the game, it's like almost a brand new game. Like imagine Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm and they added a third jutsu, or they added the tilts to a DLC package. This is what we mean by new mechanics. That would be very exciting, guys. It completely changes the gameplay. This expansion feature also has its own mini logo, which literally signals that this is going to be a large content expansion. Probably is going to take up a lot of space on our games, but we know that it's going to be really good, and I think Elden Ring is going to be nominated for another Game of the Year, mark my words, because of this DLC. Guided by Empyrean Mikola, players are beckoned to the Land of Shadow, a place obscured by the Erd Tree, where the goddess Marika first set foot. In these strange new lands, players discover the dark secrets of the world as they meet others who follow in Mikola's footsteps with ulterior motives. Hidetaka Miyazaki, a name synonymous with groundbreaking narratives and challenging gameplay, has long championed the idea of show, don't tell. In discussing the development of Elden Ring, Miyazaki emphasized the importance of leaving spaces within the story for players to fill, a philosophy that invites speculation and interpretation. In creating the DLC, Miyazaki hinted, "We've delved deeper into the histories of characters and realms only whispered about, offering players the keys to unlocking these tales." This approach ensures that the DLC will be a treasure trove of secrets, waiting to be uncovered by those brave enough to seek them. The collaboration with George R.R. Martin has imbued Elden Ring with a narrative richness unparalleled in video games. Martin's creation of the game's mythos laid the groundwork for a world teeming with stories of ambition, betrayal, and the pursuit of power. The DLC, as teased in cryptic trailers, hints at exploring the origins of the Tarnished and the true nature of the Erd Tree. Martin, in discussing his role, mentioned, "It was fascinating to build the lore of this world, knowing players would dissect its meaning. The DLC pushes this further, exploring the dichotomy of light and dark and the cost of ambition." The DLC trailer, a mosaic of cryptic imagery and haunting melodies, offers fleeting glimpses into the new territory of the Lands Between. One scene shrouded in mist shows a figure resembling Marika the Eternal, hinting at a storyline possibly revolving around the demigod's past. Another scene takes us through ruins that whisper of the ancient wars, with inscriptions that may hint at how to restore the Elden Ring. Miyazaki's trailers are puzzling, each piece meticulously crafted to stir the imagination and invite speculation. I had to do some searching online in order to find and understand this lore better. We know that it's centered around Mesmer, who has the red hair of Marika, probably inferring that he will most likely be a demigod son of Marika. And we know that he's very powerful with his own sigils and his own house, and he also is seated on this throne, which looks a lot like the Elden Throne. So maybe Mesmer is the Elden Ring or the Elden Lord of the Land of Shadow, and the Land of Shadow is something like a pseudo or parallel world to the Lands Between. We also know that this has to do a lot with Mikola, being that he is a demigod that we did not encounter in the last game or the first iteration before the DLC. We also know that he wanted to create a Halig tree, which was seen as a somewhat blasphemous tree because it opposed and had different ideologies than the Erd Tree, which had its grace and controlled the Lands Between. But as we know with Elden Ring, there are many demigods and outer gods as well that have their own beliefs and their own understandings. This is what we know about the Fire Giant, who was he served a god before the Erd Tree. Tree and the Elden Beast. So there's a lot of lore, and don't think that there's one ideology that rules all. It seems to be a huge battle that continuously is going on. Like, we know there were Elden Lords before us, and that they were outer gods before the Erd Tree, and these gods come and go as they please. Who knows where they come from? Maybe we'll understand that better as we go. Maybe we'll understand how Marika became a god herself. I want to read an interesting comment from an anonymous commenter online that I found. And he says, the Land of Shadow will be an older version of the Lands Between, similar like the Darkroot Garden in the Dark Souls 1 DLC. Miquella left his flesh in the cocoon like Ranni did with her body and moved to the Land of Shadow. This is the reason why Miquella doesn't respond to Mogwin. Miquella will be a supporting mentor for the player, and he will tell the player why he's in the Land of Shadow, but we don't know yet. We are currently using his mount, Torrent, and he will reveal himself in a similar way like Melina did. So the speculation that he will be a boss is just wrong. Mesmer the Impaler is the third son of Radagon and Marika. This was already approved by Miyazaki in an interview with IGN. This is the reason why he has red hair and looks very similar to Melania. Sounds logical, right? All of those speculations that he is just an alias for Miquella is just BS. If you don't believe me, that's fine, but many points listed above were already approved by many trusted people on the internet. For example, Miyazaki himself in the IGN interview. If you guys want to check out the IGN interview on Miyazaki, I highly suggest it. The legacy of Elden Ring is carved not just by its creators but by the community that has embraced its mysteries. The anticipation for the DLC is a testament to the game's profound impact, a yearning for the thrill of discovery and the challenge of conquest. As Miyazaki has stated, our aim was to create a world that continues to inspire stories long after the game is turned off. The hype around the DLC is not just about new content, it's about returning to a world that has captivated our imaginations, ready to uncover new tales of bravery and despair. And this I very much agree on, because I honestly turned off the game once I beat it because the lore was gone. The lore was the reason why I kept playing the game. Even to this day, I still watch videos on some of my favorite creators because of the lore. The story is just so rich. Like, imagine the hype that was around Game of Thrones, but now placed in a game. And the game, you can play and be your own character, and you choose your own storyline for the most part. You can kill NPCs. There's nothing like it. You can destroy NPCs if you want to. You can literally choose to be what type of person you are, and it's very open-ended. There's not really no one telling you what you should and shouldn't do. Before I leave you guys off, I just want to give some new interesting things that are being added in the DLC that I'm really excited for. Of course, the new maps and the areas, that's a given. That's going to be exciting. But I heard that they're adding martial arts as a fighting style. I don't know how they're going to do that, but that sounds so cool. Like, imagine a strength build where you could just fight with your hands, martial arts. And if they make the mechanics look really good, I think I'm going to have to go strength build, honestly, because I was more of a bleed build. I don't know. I didn't really understand how to play Dark Souls games, so I started off as like just everything, realizing that you can't be in every all-around build in Elden Ring. You have to pick one and just niche into it. So I ended up being a bleed build. I would say I was somewhat of an arcane build with high faith. Like, I was definitely a faith guy because I love my incantations, but I would never do sorcery just because it's like, it just seems like a blue stick with magic. But I heard they're adding new magic, and as well as a new stat that is only specific to the DLC, much like the Sekiro DLC, where you had like a whole new stat bar that basically was able to adjust for difficulty, because a lot of people are afraid of their characters being too buffed up to the point where the DLC is just too easy. But with this new stat where you have to level it up individually, it will add a new layer of difficulty and nuance to the game to keep things interesting. So that's exciting, and that's really what I'm excited for. New bosses, of course, and just new lore, because the lore is just so interesting and so many things to find, treasure hunts. And Miyazaki has also stated that he has one secret in one of his interviews that he doesn't think anyone knows about yet. So it'll be really exciting to look out for that, guys. So as we stand at the threshold of the unknown, the call to Elden Ring beckons us back to the Lands Between. Share your theories, your hopes, and your dreams for the DLC in the comments below. If you felt the pull of the Elden Ring, definitely like, subscribe, and join us in the countdown to its return. And until then, may you find your worth in the waking world. And of course, find your Zen, your final form. I'll see you in the next one, guys.
And I change clothes like my hoes. I love designer, and I change my flows like who knows. I want the commas, many honors.